let's dive into the chapter one. In this chapter one, we are going to build a simple REST API where user is going to ask a question. So the REST API is going to, or the Java is going to talk to the Llama large language model, and it's going to send a response back to the client. So what's the problem here trying to solve? Right? We are having a TechCorp, a fictional tech company. So the Sarah, the HR manager, regularly gets so many questions around organizational leave policies, dress code, how to claim expenses. So her inbox is always filled with so many questions. She spends significant amount of time in answering them. Instead of doing that, she thinks that can we build an application which automatically answers these questions. So she comes to the technical team and asks them to develop an application. The team says that, okay, why can't we build a chatbot which answers the HR questions? So essentially, we are trying to build a chat application which is going to answer the HR questions. Now, the architecture is very simple. We are having a REST API here. We are building a REST API. So the user is going to ask the question, and the question we are going to give into the large language model. I'm going to cover Ollama and what the large language model parameters and stuff like that. Essentially, the chat client is going to communicate with the Llama model, and the response is served, and the response is served back to the client or the browser. So that's simple it is. So we are going to build a REST API. That simple it is. So the question we are going to build a HR ask a question API or a REST API where it takes the question. So the simple question they are going to is what is the parental leave policy? And our API is going to respond back with the leave policy. Now, the important thing what we have to understand why we have chosen Spring AI as a tech stack. So when we are writing an application, we should focus more on application logic than how our Java is going to communicate with the language model, how it is going to communicate with Llama model, how it is going to communicate with OpenAI GPT models, how it is going to communicate with Anthropic cloud models. So we should be agnostic to the provider. That's what typically the Spring project did when you are interacting with the uh, any data, whether it can be a relational database or whether it can be a document database. The Spring provides those abstractions. In this, the Spring AI also does that. Okay, it provides abstraction to these models. So we really don't bother about which model we are interacting. And as usual, everything is included when it does all the hard work for us to include necessary libraries to integrate with these large language models. And it is Spring native. You really need not to use new technology to do that. You already have existing Spring application. When you want to integrate LLM into it, it's very simple. You use Spring AI. So as I said, right, I'm not going to cover in detail about the spec, but essentially what you have to understand is there is a chat client object, and you are going to pass the question and call the model. Here we are going to call the model, and the response we got from the model, and we are serving this response back to the user. That's simple it is. So that SDK provides that abstraction. Now, which model we are going to use? We are going to use Llama model, and Ollama is a server which is running and responding back to the user. So I'm going to cover this depth in detail in chapter 3, but essentially think that okay, there is a LLM which is running on 11434 port, and Java is communicating to that using REST API. So Java and LLM is communicating using REST API. Just remember this one thing. Later, we will dive deep into it. So let me go back to the project repository. So the entire this chapter you can download. There is a code. Go to chapter one. There is a README which covers this in detail. How do you run a Llama? How do you run LLM Llama model? And how can you build and run the Spring Boot applications? For for simplicity's sake, okay, so I have the application running on port 80. Then I have a Llama also running. Ollama server is running. Then let us pose this question. So the simple question what we have is how many vacation days do a new employee get? So this is an API, and this is a question we are going to ask. Let us see what the model responds. So we got a response from the model, and it says that we get 15 paid vacations. That's great. The model is responding for the questions asked by the employee. One caveat, is this answer right or wrong? Let us learn in the next chapter. So, as usual, what we built a REST endpoint where Java is going to communicate with the Llama model. Everything runs on your laptop. There is no need to call an external LLM. In the next chapter, we are going to cover about tokens, tokenizer, chat options in detail and the protocols that involved here. So how Java is communicating with Llama model as usual. So I don't take credit for this. This is entirely learned from the Spring AI and Llama project. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel so that the visibility of these videos will improve. Thank you very much.